Happy full moon, everyone. Welcome to my brand new podcast. It's going to go by the name of Myths and Meaning, a storyteller's heart side. Brand new to this game, never done it before, but here we are. I'm going to share a tale of solstice with you, seeing as we're in the dark months. The cold, long nights are with us, but not for long. We're going to go to Greenland. I'm going to tell a tale of Tabalek and the Raven. Tabalek was an old wizard. Not a happy man. Quite a grumpy man, actually. A bit miserable, too. Didn't like the light, didn't like the birds, didn't like the people. Always up to mischief, and always up to no good. And he had these magic boots. And once he donned these magic boots, he could jump over tundras in less than 3 steps. 3 long steps, and he'd be all the way across a whole continent, across the tundra. And one day, especially beautiful, bright, sunny day, he decided, I've had enough of this. I've had enough. And he donned his magic boots. He took a long step. Another long step into the sky, and he tore a hole in the sky with his magic knife. He went through to the other side. It was dark, it was cold, it was quiet. Tabalak was happy with this. I think, wow, I've actually found my spot. He went back onto the earth, and he gathered up trees, and he scooped up canyons and took them back through the hole in the sky and set himself up and built himself a house. And he took his wife through the hole in the sky and said, look what I've built you. We're away from the lights, we're away from the birds, we're away from the people. It'd just be me and you, would be happy. But the wife, she wasn't impressed at all. She looked, said, well, there's no light. There's nothing for me to do. It's a nice house, but what am I to do? And Tabalek thought, and he said, well, why don't we have a baby? And lo and behold, they had a beautiful baby girl. And they lived quite happily, and the wife was still not happy about the light. And he said, well, look, what is it? She said, well, I know on the other side there's light, and here there's just dark. So off Tabalek went back through the hole in the sky, put his old boots on, and took his long steps, and he went up to the sky, and he grabbed the moon. He scooped the moon and put him into his magic bag and brought it back down and went through the hole in the sky and said, look, I've brought the moon in. That'll stop it being light at night there, so you just have darkness. He says, oh, what about the sun? So again, Tabalek goes through the hole in the sky, sees the sun and dons his boots and takes long steps up and up, and he gathers the sun. And the whole place is in darkness. He puts it in a bag and ties it with sinew and back through the hole. And he says, look, there we go, they've got no light at all now. So even if you went to the other side, it'll be exactly the same as it is here. So the wife was still not happy, but there's nothing she could do about it, because Tabalek was an evil wizard, that's for sure. And meanwhile, the raven was fast asleep up in his tree, and he'd open his eyes every now and again to see if it was time to get up, and it wasn't, because it was still dark. And he slept some more, and he slept some more. And he carried on sleeping until he had somebody shouting him, oh, Raven. And he's like, well, I'm having a kip. Leave me alone, will you? And he said, no, Raven, look. And Raven opened his eyes, and it was pitch black. He said, oh, it's the middle of the night. What are you doing? He said, it's not the middle of the night, Raven. It's halfway through the day. It's gone pitch black. And he says, oh, come on, that can't be right. Can't be right. So up Raven gets and flies down, and he has a good fly around, and he sees the hole in the sky. And so you see what happened? He said, well, we think Tabalek took the sun. So we couldn't see it because it was too bright, but all of a sudden it was dark, but we saw him up there. He says, oh, I'll go and have a look. And Raven is a wise old soul, and he knew Tabalek was his old foe, so he treaded carefully and went through the hole and had a little peep in. And he could see the Tabalek and his wife and his daughter By which time the crow daughter had grown to a beautiful young woman. He says, "Oh, we'll have a little think about this." So he goes into the world and he creeps in and he hides and he's hidden from their view. He watches them, and he watches the girl grow older and more beautiful. He says, "Oh, I know what I'll do." He goes to the riverside and turns himself into a feather and floats down the river where the young lady's bathing. And she takes a scoop of water and she drinks from it, but she drinks from it with the feathers. The feathers also in the cup. She notices the feather but doesn't think much of it because that's just a feather in the water, isn't it? Anyway, she becomes pregnant. And Tabalik and his wife are overjoyed. They can't believe that they're going to have a grandchild. And lo and behold, a beautiful baby boy is born. But the baby boy is actually the raven. And they bring him up. And he's a beautiful baby boy. He's happy, and Tabalik is beside himself. Tabalik is actually smiling. He's actually been singing, and he was actually happy. And there's nothing that boy could do that was wrong in Tabalik's eyes. So one day Tabalik was out hunting with his magic boots, and he'd taken his long steps across the tundra to go and find some food. Meanwhile, back in the house, the baby boy is staring back at the moon in it, and he's staring and staring. And he starts reaching for it, and he reaches, but he's only a baby, he can't really reach that far. And then he starts screaming and shouting and spitting and bawling to get the bag, and his grandmother's ignoring him, his mum's telling him, "No, you can't have the bag." But the screams were so loud, even Tabalik could hear it from so far away, and it filled the air for miles around. And the grandmother and the mother gave up, said, "Oh, there you go, just have the bag." And he gave him the bag, and the baby boy was happy. But with his very dexterous fingers, because he was after all the raven, he managed to untie the sinew and release the moon, and the moon bounced up against the ceiling like a helium balloon and out through the chimney, and Tabalik was on his way back to see what the commotion was. And he sees the moon rise in the sky, so he leaps and he jumps and he leaps and he runs, and he just misses the moon as it pops through the hole in the sky and back into the earth, the earthly realm. Tabalik runs into the house and said, "What has gone on? Who's released my moon?" I said, "Oh, it was the wee bairn, it's the baby." He said he was just screaming for it, and Tabalik looked into the little boy's eyes and he just melted. He said, "Oh, well, it's just a moon. It's just a moon. He'll be all right. Just don't do it again, all right?" And so they take the sun back down and they tie an extra sinew on it and hang it back up. And Tablet says, "Well, I've got to go back out hunting again because I didn't catch anything and I had to get back here." So off he goes out hunting again and takes his long leaps across the tundra. The baby boy looks at the bag with the sun in it, and he starts again. He starts whimpering and then crying, then reaching, then wailing, and screaming and screaming and screaming. And the mum's like, "Oh, you can't have it, you can't have it. Your granddad said you can't have it, your grand says you can't have it." And the grandmother says, "Oh, I just can't do this. It's hurting my ears now." So she grabs the bag down and she goes, "There you go. You won't be able to undo it anyway. There's two knots there." And the little boy gets the knot, gets the bag, and he tries to undo the knot, and he can't for the life of him undo the knot. He says, "I've got to find my feather. I think I know where to put it." And he creeps off and he finds his feather and turns back into the raven. And he flies into the room and he grabs the bag and he takes off through the chimney, and Tabalik has heard the commotion and he's running again, and Tabalik's just behind him. And the raven's frantically trying to fly away with the sun in his the sun in the bag. And Tabalik's getting closer and closer and closer. Eventually the raven uses his beak and splits the bag open, and the sun's released. High in the sky and through the hole in the sky, out the sun goes. But meanwhile Tabalik's on his tail, and the raven just about manages to get through the hole in the sky. And that is what happened to our solstice. That is the tale of the sun disappearing and then returning. And the legend is that Tabalik and the raven still fight for this day. They're still great foes of each other, and every winter solstice, Tablet tries to take the sun and the moon away from the people, and the raven always wins it back.